Hey, what's up guys? Today we're going to be doing some baked ziti. My wife's got some friends coming over later, and we thought what a great idea, what a good opportunity to do one of the crowd favorites, baked ziti. So I'm going to do 2 trays. I'm going to do one traditional-ish with some Italian sausage and some bacon, and the other tray I'm going to do a vegan variety. We got some friends coming over who their diet's a little different than ours, so we're going to try to accommodate everybody. In the vegan baked ziti, we're going to use this Daiya cheese. It's a plant-based cheese. And instead of meat, we're going to chop up some cashews and put in there with it too. This is going to be a fun cook. I've never made a vegan baked ziti. I've never really made a vegan anything except the vegetable medley. So this is going to be a good learning experience for me, and I'm excited to see what it tastes like. Hope it's good. Okay, so I've got 2 pots out here for my pasta. I've got 1 skillet getting ready to go. We're gonna get our Italian sausage in. It looks like my water is just now starting to boil. That'll be good. Want to get our pasta in, get that going first. So, baked ziti is one of those dishes that's really flexible. You can put just about anything in it that you want. What I decided to go with is rigatoni. I like the rigatoni because it's still short, tubular little pieces of pasta, but on the outside it's got the ridges, and those ridges are really going to hold the sauce and the flavor on the outside as well as on the inside. This is my go-to for baked ziti. All right, boom. So my sausage is looking pretty good. What I like to do is get it into smaller crumbles, and you can do large chunks, you can do big chunks of sausage if you want. For me personally, I like to have the sausage in smaller chunks, almost like a fine ground beef kind of meat sauce. But I turned the heat down on it a little bit so it wouldn't rage, and it allowed me to keep it in here and just use my turner to get into the size that I like. All right, sausage is perfect. That's how I like it. We're gonna set this aside in this little bowl. Okay, so we've got a couple different things set up here. Oh, there it is. All right, pasta's ready to come off. We got 2 different strainers. I don't want them to sit in the water one longer than the other, so we'll do a colander and a strainer. We'll get these rinsed off both at the same time. So before I just dump boiling hot water down my drains, most sinks underneath have just plastic or ABS or PVC P-traps. That's your piping underneath. I'm not a fan of dumping boiling hot water into something plastic. I've seen them just release and then just fail. So I will run cold water, not on the pasta, but down the drain, just to kind of help neutralize some of this. Boom. All right, perfect. All right, bacon's in the pan. What I'm going to do, before we get these in the tray that they're going to go in the smoker in, oh, did I mention we're smoking these today? Okay, there we go. So I'm going to take some sauce. I'm just using like a generic sauce. I'm not making my own sauce. Use about half of this jar of sauce in some kind of container, and just to mix these noodles up before they go in and get all the other stuff. So I'm just going to use the same pot that I used to boil them in. Get these back in there. And again, you could use anything. You can use bowl, but I already had this out, so I thought, why not? Just want a nice little coating on all of them. Number 2. And will help. That's why a colander is really better for rinsing pasta than a strainer. I just want to stick to the finer mesh of the strainer. So, time for some herbs. A little bit of basil. I'm just going to pick these off just like this. It's going to be strong. Love it. Set this aside. Next, want a little Italian parsley. this Italian parsley really has a good aroma. I'm gonna use a little bit of this in the regular sauce mix, but I'm gonna hold about half of it back because I'm gonna sprinkle it over the top. It's a nice garnish, aromatic, and it's also got a good flavor. Now for the garlic. There's no rule on garlic other than garlic doesn't need a reason. You can add as much garlic or as little garlic as you like. I like to add more garlic, but I also understand that not everybody that's going to be eating this meal likes the same amount of garlic that I do. So I'm going to stick with, I've got 2 trays, so I'm going to stick with about 9 or 10 cloves of garlic. Now, since the sauce is going to be the same in regards to herbs and spices for both, the only thing different is going to be the addition of the Italian sausage and the bacon. I'm going to hold that back. I'm going to go ahead and do the vegan first. We'll chop up some cashews and put them in on the side, and then I'll mix it all in there. And then we'll get the meat and the bacon into this, and then we'll make the second tray. So here comes the basil, the garlic, and about half of the parsley. Woo! That escalated quickly. If the sauce was the featured portion of the meal, I would be doing this from scratch with Roma tomatoes. I just slice them up, de-seed them, cook them for a lot longer time to get all the flavor I can out of them. But because this is baked ziti and it's really a flexible dish, I'm just going with the cans. Oh, well, it's getting a little sloppy. Ah, dang. Woo! So before we get the bacon on here to chop it up, I want to finish out my vegan components. You do about a 1.5 cups of these cashews. I don't have a chopper, I wish I did, but I'm just gonna nice and easy go through these. This is gonna add a little bit of texture and a little bit of crunchiness. And one of the things that I found out, I wish I would have looked at before I started this recipe, was cashews, you can actually make a ricotta cheese out of the cashews. There's a cheese sauce that you can make. You can even make a cream cheese out of cashews. Lots of stuff that you can do with this versatile little nut. But we're just gonna use it to give a little bit of texture in place of meat for our vegan ziti. Transfer our nuts. Okay, time to get this bacon chopped up. Bacon is one of the most usable meats. It goes with anything. Meat candy, and it's really God's way of telling us He loves us. All right, chopped up. I'm gonna transfer this right over here. Sauce is warm, ready to start our vegan portion. We're gonna get about half of our sauce in this bowl. Take our nuts, put our nuts in here. We'll give this a little mix. Those all mixed up. So with ziti, there's 20 million different ways to do it. If there's 20 million people, you're gonna have 20 million different ways to put this together. It's real easy though. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take a little bit, I'm just gonna layer the bottom of this pan, just a little. All right, now it's time to put our noodles in. Now, I want about 2 layers of cheese on this. So we're using this diet cheese. This is that plant-based vegetarian cheese. I don't know how it's gonna work with the heat, but it's a pretty popular deal. So I'm gonna put a layer here. Now I'm gonna get the rest of the sauce on top of this. just spread it right across the top. So as this heats up in the smoker, it'll loosen up and it'll drain down, get in between all the pasta, but that smoke is gonna get in here as well. An extra little surprise. Now let's get the other Daya cheese packet on top of this. And you know what? We're gonna fill this thing up. We're gonna load it. Okay, boom. Vegan baked ziti. This one's ready for the smoker. Let's get that meat tray ready. Now that we're done with our vegan dish, I'm just gonna go ahead and use the same skillet I used to cook everything up in. I'm not worried about cross-contaminating this point because we're done with our vegan dish. So I'm gonna put my Italian sausage in, our bacon in, so I didn't put any red pepper flakes or any kind of heat in the vegan, but I'm gonna spice this one up a little bit. Just a couple red pepper flakes to give it a little bit of zing. Everybody loves the zing, just not everybody loves painful heat, because pain hurts. All right, now again, just like with the first, we're gonna put a little layer in the bottom, but what I'm gonna do additionally with this one is I'm gonna put a couple dollops of ricotta cheese in the bottom before I put my noodles in. And again, if I had done some research, if I had done a little more research before we did the vegan recipe, I would have tried to make that cashew ricotta. I think that would have been really, really good. But the next time. All right. Don't be afraid to put this ricotta in there. I'm not trying to save it. We'll put a little more on top too. Let's get those noodles in. All right, so here's the meat tray finished off. We had layer of meat sauce, ricotta, noodles, another layer of cheese, meat sauce, another layer of cheese, mozzarella, more ricotta, and I finished it off with a little bit of Parmesan. Cheesy, gooey yumminess. Ziti. Ziti doesn't rhyme with cheesy, but it could. Okay, so I got the smoker set at about 350. It's ready to go. Put the vegan in. There, 2 racks for 2 trays. There we go. So we'll smoke these for about 40 minutes, 45 minutes, but I'll check them again in about 25 minutes to see how the top's looking. If it needs to be tinted, it's starting to get brown, a little more than I want, a little too soon, we'll tint them. All right, kitchen's almost clean. Let's go out and check. Baked ziti's been on for about 25 minutes. Yeah, looking good. We're gonna keep them untinted. That smoke is doing its thing, heating up just right. All right, 45 minutes. Let's give it the little poke test. See if it's probe tender. Oh yeah, probe tender for sure. All right. Here's the vegan. Here's the meat. No tint required. Yeah. All right, there we go. Side-by-side comparison, first glance. Looks like the Daya cheese didn't really melt the way I was hoping it would. The mozzarella, ricotta, and Parmesan did exactly what I knew it would. Actually got a little bit more golden brown on one side than I wanted it to, but this is gonna come out great. I'm really excited to see how this baked ziti comes out, man. I'm really, really interested to see how that flavor is. We got both of these trays of baked ziti out off the smoker. Man, they smell delicious. I can smell the Italian seasonings and I can smell the smoke. It's gonna be great. We're gonna tent this real quick and let it rest, let it set up a little bit. And I gotta run to the store. We gotta get some paper plates. Man, I got a bunch of kids and parents. They're all in and out. It's the court thing going on. But I gotta get some paper plates to feed everybody.
My dad doesn't know I'm in here, but opened it up and they smell really good.
All right, paper plates are here. Guests are about to show up. These have been resting. Ooh, they're still nice and hot. Let's take a look. Oh yeah, give it a little garnish. This is that fresh parsley. Oh man, I hope the kids like it. What do you think, Em?
It looks delicious. Smells delicious.
YouTube.
You went like this.
Right here, right here.
Hoping for everybody to get it. So we handed out some food to the neighborhood kids and the parents. A bunch of people showed up, had a good time. They came for the crafts, they came for the food, but really, everybody just came to hang out. It was a good time, but the good time was so much more than the food. The good time was hanging out with our people in our community. I'll tell you what, if your neighborhood doesn't have a community relationship like this, maybe you need some therapy. Maybe you need some culinary therapy. All right, I'm gonna try it. We'll both side by side.
I love the bunch at the end.
Is it vegan, like just like vegetables?
It is, and there's some chopped up cashews in there, and the cheese is a plant-based.